And three of President Trump's most controversial nominees are moving forward despite tough criticism from lawmakers. The Senate Judiciary Committee voted to advance Kash Patel's nomination to serve as FBI director. Education Secretary nominee Linda McMahon is being grilled by senators as part of her confirmation process, but is ultimately expected to be confirmed. And senators have voted to confirm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the nation's new Health and Human Services Secretary. He's expected to be sworn in this afternoon. Let's bring in Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill and senior national policy reporter Ann Flaherty for more on that. Jay, what are you hearing from lawmakers about RFK Jr.?
Well, they want him to stick true to the promises that he made some of those Republican holdout votes, because RFK Jr. went from being one of Donald Trump's most controversial cabinet picks to having a relatively easy confirmation vote on the Senate floor. And it's because some of those moderate Republicans like Susan Collins of Maine or Lisa Murkowski of Alaska said that he made assurances to them that he wouldn't change the way that the U.S. government approves vaccines. He wouldn't change vaccine information on the CDC website or other government health websites. And so one of the things some of those Republicans have said is now they're going to be watching him closely, because that was enough to earn their vote. And also, of course, they didn't want to be a thorn in the side of this administration. But now they want to see if RFK Jr. lives up to those promises he made in order to secure this job. One Republican who those assurances was not enough for was Mitch McConnell, the former top Republican in the Senate. This is the third time McConnell has voted against one of Donald Trump's cabinet picks. And here's a little bit of what he wrote, given his reasoning why he voted no on RFK Jr. Again, the only Republican to do so. He said, quote, "Individuals, parents, and families have a right to push for a healthier nation and demand the best possible scientific guidance on preventing and treating illnesses. But a record of trafficking in dangerous conspiracy theories and eroding trust in public health institutions does not entitle Mr. Kennedy to lead those important efforts." So tough words there from Mitch McConnell. But again, Diane, the only Republican no vote, Kennedy having a relatively easy path to confirmation today.
So, Ann, what do you expect from RFK Jr.'s first actions as HHS secretary?
Well, Diane, we just heard moments ago from the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, who said that he will be establishing a MAHA commission. And that's, of course, a reference to the Make America Healthy Again slogan that he used throughout much of his campaign before aligning with Trump. She says he's going to address the chronic diseases in America. Of course, the question is, how do you do that without triggering an avalanche of lawsuits? Also, you know, a lot of health experts would say people need health insurance, and you're talking about cutting Medicaid. That was certainly a priority of Elon Musk and Doge that you were just talking about. So, you know, it's going to be a heavy lift, a lot of questions about what he's going to do next. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, say, more studies on food dyes. That's something he's talked about in the past. And President Trump himself has talked about wanting to get rid of vaccine mandates for schools. Of course, HHS sets those recommendations that a lot of schools follow. It's up to schools to decide what to require students to have. But he could withhold education dollars, for example. So those are a lot of the questions on his plate. We'll see where it goes next.
And Jay, meanwhile, Linda McMahon's facing her confirmation hearing as we speak. What sticks out to you so far from her responses?
Well, she said that she wants to revamp the agency and focus on what she says is parents' rights and getting back to basics in education. That's long been something that the president said on the campaign trail as well. But also, she's fallen in line with this much larger promise of President Trump's, which is to eliminate the Department of Education entirely. Trump has said to McMahon that should she be confirmed, which she looks on track to be, that he wants her to work herself out of a job because he wants to get rid of the Department of Education and return much of its responsibilities either to state departments or to other federal agencies that could oversee what DOE does. Linda McMahon, though, was pressed on that by Democrats on this panel, particularly Bernie Sanders, the top Democrat on the committee where she's testifying. And she acknowledged under that pointed questioning that President Trump, despite his framing that he cannot eliminate the Department of Education on his own, that he would need an act of Congress in order to do that. And it looks like any legislation to that effect would likely, and it depends on Senate procedure, but would almost certainly need 60 votes, which means 10 or so Democratic votes in order to pass. That's a tall order right now. But McMahon acknowledging that they would need Congress to eliminate that department.
And Jay, Kash Patel is advancing to a full Senate vote. What are you watching for there? Does he have the support to be confirmed?
At the moment, he's got no public no votes, but he's probably the last of the most controversial of Donald Trump's cabinet picks. RFK Jr., Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel is the last. Those three have all been confirmed. And again, there are no Republicans right now saying that they are a firm no on Kash Patel. He's just gotten out of committee. A floor vote is next. He can only afford to lose 3 Republican votes, but no public no votes right now, Diane.
All right, Jay O'Brien and Flaherty, thank you both.